It's Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance in San Diego today, joined by Tasha Boerner Horvath. She is a new member of the Encinitas City Council. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Brad.
A tremendous victory. I knew you when. I knew you before you were a councilwoman. A tough race indeed. There were 5 or 6 of you running, is that right?
5 of us, yes.
5 of us for 3 seats, but 2 of the seats were for 4-year terms and 1 of the seats was for 2-year terms. I don't understand.
When we moved to an elected mayor system, we didn't reset the terms of the council seats.
I see.
And so if we hadn't reset them, every 2 years we'd have the mayor plus 3 council seats up, and 2 years later we'd have a mayor and 1 seat up, which means basically the entire council is up every 4 years, which is kind of crazy.
Right.
So now we have 1 seat. Well, in 2 years we'll have the mayor and then 2 council seats, and the mayor and 2 council seats, and it'll be more balanced.
So how was it determined which of the 3 of you took the 2-year seat versus the 4-year seat?
So the person who came in third got the 2-year seat.
And that was just set by the council when elections were set.
Yes.
But you came in second.
I came in second.
So you took a 4-year seat.
Yes, I did.
And so let's talk about the victors. Because, you know, Encinitas, North County, which is seen as, you know, more right than left. But in Encinitas, you seem to have had a progressive majority do quite well. A progressive mayor was successful, and 2 of the 3 of you who won define yourselves as progressives.
Yes.
What happened?
I think in Encinitas, what has happened over the last couple years is we have moved to a more responsive government, and that more responsive government happens to be more progressive. And so it's that, but it's also the environmental mandate is really strong in all 3 candidates, for obviously Catherine Blakespeare, our mayor, and with Tony Krantz and myself. And to some extent also Mark Muir, is that environmental component. Is
that what you were hearing when you were walking and talking and out and about amongst the 60,000 plus folks from Encinitas? Is that what was on top of mind?
So I think what I heard were basically 3 main things. One was, let's respect our natural resources. That's why we all live here. It's gorgeous. So we need to take care of it. We need to be good environmental stewards. Second, let's respect community character. Let's guide growth. Let's not give in to full development and build out completely.
But was it a no-growth message or a slow growth message?
It varied. There's some people that are no growth, some people, I mean, I think a large portion of the population really realized that we need to have some housing diversity.
And we'll talk about housing diversity. That's a whole other conversation.
Yes. So we need to have some housing diversity. The question of how is more complex than what in that case. And the other one that was an overwhelming message that I think has shifted in the last couple of years is about mobility. And it's about, you know, accommodating roads for all modes of transportation: biking, walking, scootering, skateboarding, and cars.
I want to talk more about that, but I also want to talk about an open seat on your city council, because Catherine Blakespeare is successful in her run for mayor, so she's vacated her seat. So she's now mayor. You have 3 council members elected. That means you have an open seat right now, because it's 1 plus 4.
Yes.
And so you have a few choices. You can go to the voters, in-person election. You can go to the voters all mail, or you can appoint.
Yes.
Talk us through that.
So we made a decision actually on
recently
Tuesday night when I got sworn in at my first council meeting. That we would try to appoint, mostly out of fiscal reasons.
Explain.
A vote by mail election is over $300,000 and could first be done in June. That would leave us with a 4-person council for a very important 6 months, and we can talk about what's going to happen with Measure T. But it's a very important 6 months, and to have only 4 people on that council is an issue, and also just the cost of it. If we can find somebody to appoint, we now have 60 days to appoint.
I see. And
if we can find somebody to appoint that gets basically at least 3 votes, then we can do that, and it's the more fiscally responsible approach.
And they would have to run in 2 years.
You got it.
So they're going to the voters.
They're going to go to the voters.
Let's talk about Measure T. We hinted at it. Measure T was a measure on your ballot which set up a housing plan, because as I understand it, Encinitas does not have a plan that complies with state law for lower income housing, high density housing. 4 candidates who won in Encinitas supported Measure T, the mayor and the 3 of you, and Measure T lost.
Yes.
Oops.
Yes, I mean, it is I can't say I'm surprised.
Oh, really?
So when I was on the campaign trail, people are wary of development in Encinitas. I think there were many years where it wasn't done well, and there have been some kind of big mistakes.
But do they understand that without this housing element, you will continue to be subject to expensive litigation?
I think some people understand that, and I think we're going to all understand that very soon.
Right.
Even more. And so now we have a subcommittee on Measure T led by Mayor Blakespear and Deputy Mayor Krantz.
Got it.
And so we did decide yesterday that we would go to a public meeting led by with the council and the people that are concerned about the impacts from Measure T to see what kind of compromise we can do. Exactly. It's not a question about not doing it. And after the election when T failed, I talked to a lot of people, and there was a lot of misinformation. People didn't understand the map. So I think there's a better way we can communicate it, and if we make it more amenable to the people, I think there's a good chance that we can find a solution that works for us.
I also want to talk about one of the points that you brought up earlier, which was the desire of voters to be strong environmental stewards. I think it's fair to say that the new federal administration, at least candidate Trump, did not express environmental stewardship as one of his priorities. Tweeted a lot about how climate change was a hoax, and has appointed a lot of cabinet secretaries that arguably don't see climate change as an important element. The new head of the EPA has argued against the existence of climate change. Where does Encinitas go as this great little city in San Diego County in the wake of this administration's views?
Well, I think you could look at environmental protection from 2 sides. You can look at it from top down or bottom up. And Encinitas will be a great place where we can demonstrate bottom-up leadership.
Think globally, act locally, the shirt that we've seen from our childhood.
Exactly. So, and I think that's where we can is. I mean, Encinitas, along with other North County cities, are pursuing or evaluating community choice energy, which would be basically the
aggregation.
Community choice energy aggregation is another name, but it's the sourcing of the energy and determining what is that mix, and that is something that can reduce costs to voters and have local control over energy sources. And that's something I would really champion.
And I'm wondering, I've said this, Texas during the Obama years was quite a litigant against the Obama administration. California could play that role in the Trump years, especially on environmental issues. Are you hopeful that California plays that role? Is that
I'm counting on it.
You're okay.
I'm counting on it.
Well, talk us through that, because as a councilwoman, you will be going to Sacramento. You'll be part of the League of California Cities, and your advice is going to be sought, because this will be contentious, expensive.
It will be contentious and expensive. I mean, for me, it's always best solutions come out of partnerships. And if the partnership is through the League of Cities or is with our state government, those are going to be the best solutions. Is where you can have local control, but you're still fulfilling that state mandate.
I understand.
And then that's really good. And making sure that there are the right kind of messages coming down from the state. If they're not coming from the federal level, then having them come from the state level is another great alternative.
Well, all I can say is congratulations.
Thank you, Brad.
A tremendous victory for you. She is a new member of the Encinitas City Council in beautiful North County, San Diego. Her name is Tasha Boerner Horvath. My name is Brad Pomerance. It's Local Edition.
Thank you so much,
You
Brad.
won!